Welcome back, guys. Today I am shooting in my backyard here in Melbourne. Plan on doing a little still life scene of a flower in the background. I've been wanting to paint some still life for ages now, and if COVID-19 has given us one thing, it's a whole heap of time to work with, so I plan on picking up a couple of these random little projects that I've been planning for a while and having fun with it, just trying to sort of take advantage of this time whilst we're all isolating. But for now, I'm just going to set up a little easel and canvas, set up a small table with some paints, and get stuck into it. So let's do it.
40 nights with no stars, an empty room and a broken mind. No one calling, no sense of time.
So this isn't really the most ideal easel for this sort of a setup. It's quite short, especially when using a small canvas like this. But because I want to be painting more at my sort of eye level, I'm just going to use this scrap piece of 2x4 to prop up my canvas to the height that I want it, and I'll be good to go. So that's about it in terms of my little setup here. I've got my paint palette ready to go with a little bit of paint, my paint tubes, I've got my brushes, paper towel, artist grade solvent, as well as refined linseed oil. Coming over here, I've got my canvas set up ready to go, my reference that I'm going to be painting, and now I'm just essentially waiting for the sun to pass by that tree so that the remainder of the afternoon I will have some nice consistent lighting on what I'm going to be painting here. But for now, I might actually get started and just sketch in my composition that I am going to be painting, and then once the sun has come into where I want it to be, I can get started.
You would not believe what has happened to me. No, you wouldn't, baby. When you're gone so far, when you're in so deep, there's no way to escape reality. Wonder if you still
So as you can see, I'm still waiting for that sun to go ahead and move, but what I'm going to quickly do is just block in a real loose undercoat, just a bit of a wash, and I'm just doing that by mixing some odorless solvent with some pigment and just making it super thin.
You would not believe what happened to me. You would not believe.
So once I've gone ahead and gotten this sort of wash layer undercoat down, you're going to see me start to flesh out my overall composition and the sort of more details to the flower itself, and essentially just start to build up my surface area of the painting, slowly adding a little bit more refined linseed oil as I go, and basically just sort of jumping around the canvas and fleshing out the individual petals and different sections, finding those shadows and highlights and bringing some areas like some certain sections in the petals like the left and right side and pushing those to the front with the highlights, and also whilst doing that pushing some areas back like the very center of the flower using some sort of like really dry and cool shadow tones and just making that sort of like recede into the center of the canvas. But yeah, you're going to see me sort of just start to flesh out my detail and hop around the canvas a bit. I started to experiment a little bit with the background and you're going to see me sort of develop that once I pop back in the studio. But my sort of main thing that I want to capture was the overall lighting whilst I was outside. So here you see me pop back into the studio, and that was because I didn't manage to finish the painting on the first afternoon, and I decided to essentially take a photo reference of the flower as I saw it that day, and then complete the painting the next day in the studio, because the following day was super overcast, and essentially all of the work and all of the color work that I had done the day before would have been almost invalid if I had gone back the next day in a completely different lighting scene and try and recreate the painting. So here I'm exploring a little bit with the background. I had this idea originally, and then I sort of painted over it, and then I've gone back here for a second crack, and I could have left it this really nice sort of aqua, teal, greenish, bluish sort of color, and sort of left it as is, but I decided I wanted to push myself, and I included this sort of like really sketchy outline only representation of the sort of leaves in this like flower bush that I was painting. And I did that because I wanted to create something that was kind of a little bit more interesting and hopefully modern and interpretive, as opposed to trying to just paint in and flesh out all of the individual leaves and stalks and whatnot. And yeah, I just sort of wanted to push myself and see what I could come up with. And overall, I was pretty happy with the result. And just working outside and painting still life was a whole heap of fun. It was super relaxing. There's sort of no better time than now. So easy, everybody can do it. Find something in your backyard and just set up a canvas and have at it. But for now, that's it. Plenty more videos coming, and I'll catch you in the next one.